And people make their work in peace.
Is there anything that you want me to give a hint on before I start?
See what? I came to eat and go.
So I think we are good to go if you guys don't have much things that you want me to cover, but I wanted to start from something of exceptional handling. Though I think it will be good you raise your issues so that I know how far we are going, because the session will be limited for a few minutes. Think about that. If you guys will still be around, I'll make another session of still 30 minutes. So I think I can start from here. You know that with exceptions, you are dealing with errors in programs, errors in your codes. So multiple times as you're running these programs, you will find yourselves that you are encountering errors and actually your program does not continue to run. So you will have to deal with exceptions. So what is an exception? An exception is something that is unexpected. While there is flow of your program, those are unexpected errors, but these errors can be handled. That's why it is called exceptional handling. So an unexpected error. You don't expect it, but when it does, how does your program handle that error? I'm seeing a few questions from you guys. I think I'll show you these things a little bit later. So they are quite different forms of exceptions. I don't know if I can Google for you some of them here, and you see them. But if it is an exception, you will need to extend a few classes, maybe like throwable. There's also a subclass of exception or something of the sort. So there are multiple of them. So it depends on which exception you're working with. If you are dealing with arrays, that means you're going to work with an array index out of bounds exception. You want to check for an index that is not existent at all. So in this program that I made for you guys here, there is this program. I don't know if I can just repeat it at once and just to let you know how you can code this. I think yeah. I think I should repeat this. Yeah. So I want to test for a program that will check for an array index that is not existing. Okay. You might have an index, maybe that you may because you may have an array that is having maybe 14 elements, but maybe by mistake a user outputs an array element that is at index 20 that is not existent. So exceptional handling comes in. It is as work for you instead of the program running into errors or giving you an exceptional message that is program built. It will simply continue the flow uninterrupted. It will just give you an exception error message that the program has created on your own. So I want to try something of an array that is maybe of an array that is of something of how many? It can be anything. I hope you guys even know how you can. I hope you know how to declare arrays. Okay? There are two forms you can declare arrays, and I think I'll show you the two. So assuming the array I want to make is of 5 elements. I think that is it. Assuming the array I want to make is of 5 elements. So that's how it will be. Okay. At declaration, that's how it's going to be. int, give the angle brackets, the array name, new. That's the first way you can declare an array. The other way can be this. This can be another way that you can declare that array. The two are not so much different from each other. The two are actually similar. So it's giving an error here because it's the same name as this. So these are the two ways you can declare the arrays in programming. I don't know if at this point there's anyone with a question. I don't know. You can just raise your hand and you see, or you can pass it in the chat so we can I can respond to it. There's someone who asked about overriding and overloading. I'm going to show you that. So what I want to first show you is how you can deal with exceptions. So I have declared my array max and I expect it to carry 5 elements. And you can initialize the form. You can simply go and give the index there, and you give an element there. That's so. That's if you're not using a loop anyway, or if you're not inputting using the scanner class. But I just want to elaborate the exception a little bit quick before Zoom chases me from here. So at least you know what indexes are, and that you know that indexes start from 0. So the first index will always be a 0, go to 1, to a 2, to a 3, like that. Even if it was a row by column, something of the sort, maybe assuming a 2 by 2, 3 by 2. Also, the columns would be indexed like that, from index 0, index 1, index 2, and the sort like that. So I want to try. So you put an exception in the try block. This is the try block. You try to check for something. Is this going to give me the output I want? So what I want to check for is I want to assign a particular index, or a particular index in any of these, or outside any of these indexes that I have initialized here in the try block, and we check and see, is that index true or is it existent? So what we have is this. You can have something of this sort and say int m is or you assign an index to a variable m of data type int. So you can have an index 6. We know that we have only 5 elements here, okay? Because here at declaration we declared we declared the array to be having 5 elements, maximum 5. So what will happen if at all we try to output the 6th index? The 6th index, which I know that I have not done what? That I have not declared. Excuse me a little bit. So I have not declared any 6th. I have not initialized any 6th index here, because if I was to do so, I would have it somewhere here, and maybe say index 6. I mean index 5. That would be the 6th index. But for this case, I don't have it anywhere. Okay, so what will happen if I'm trying to output that index, or if a user tries to output that index? You put it in the try block like this. That's how. That's why you're going to put it, and as system dot out dot print like something of the sort, and then you try to output that in that index. I hope you guys can get this, because I declared a variable m, and to it I assigned the index, the array max at index 0. So here I just output the variable because it's already storing this value here. So after trying that block, you have to catch, or you throw that exception to the catch block, and say you're checking for an array index out of bounds. exception. Yeah, you can check for that. So this is the exception type, array index out of bounds. So sometimes you may forget this keyword here, index. If you don't put that keyword there, then what are you checking for? You have to include array index out of bounds. So if it is index, let it be index. You're checking for a position for an index. So that's it. Now in the catch, if that if that exception is tried here and it's true, the error or exception is existing, then it will be called in the what? In the catch, in the catch block. And that catch block will contain the exception type which you are trying to test for. There are two ways you can either be specific on the exception you want to catch, or you can catch multiple exceptions. It doesn't matter. If you're catching multiple exceptions, it means you are going to simply have, exception. Sorry about this. sorry. If you are not going to, if you don't want to be specific on which kind of exception you want to catch, then you are simply going to have exception here. That's no problem at all. But if you want to test for a particular exception, that means that you're going to use that exception name, and that will be that. So what I want to check for is that array index out of bounds exception. Let me be a little bit quick so that I can also reply to some of you guys' questions. So the print statement, or whatever you put in the catch blocks body, is what will be output to show you that something went wrong with your exception. So here you can have something that maybe your something of the sort. So that's it. Then there's always also something of finally, whatever you put in finally will be executed, regardless of whether there's an exception or there's no exception. So this is the program. This is the program. At the end of this program, I want you guys to ask a few questions of where you've not understood, and we see how we can do it. So this is it. I hope you guys recall well that I'm checking for an array index which is not existent. Okay, I declare this to 5. But what happens if I'm checking for the what? For the 6th index. What happens if I'm checking for the 6th index? So I'll put it in a try block. Put there what I'm checking for. If it is not existent, then to throw it to the catch what? The catch block, which is this. Catch array index out of bounds. Then I also showed you the other way you can do it. There's also, so in the catch block, you put the print statement, like something of the sort. So this print statement is what will be showed if the array index is non-existent. So what about if what I'm checking for is actually existing in the indexes? So assuming I want to test for a 4, I hope you guys can see this, by the way. Assuming what I want to check for is an index 4, which index 4 is this? So it is existing. If it is existing, then shall we have this statement here? Let's check and see. We shall not have that in that statement. That the exception will not be thrown to the catch block. Instead, it will output for you that index which is existing. Yeah, so that's it. I don't know if you guys have gotten this issue here. I don't know if you've got this issue, but in case you have a question on it, you can please ask, and you can unmute yourself and you raise your question, and we'll see how we can go about it. Okay, I think there's no question. Let me check in the chat. So exceptions are not necessarily errors. I'm seeing Aridan Ronald is asking about that. Exceptions are unexpected occurrences. You should actually differentiate between an error and an exception. Let me use this example. You guys have used the Airtel and MTN thing. And maybe you're trying to buy airtime using mobile money, and maybe you're supposed to input option 3. Option 2, that is buy airtime and bundles. But instead, okay, let's assume the menu has 10 options, 1 to 10. Those are the indexes, okay? But you input 11 by mistake. In most cases, you'll find that it either brings for you, put the correct choice, or it brings for you the same one, the same menu. Those are exceptions because they expect that at some point you're going to input something wrong. And if you do so, that means the program will give you a long list of errors. So instead of doing that, those exceptions will put into try and catch blocks and simply give you back the same menu, and you select from that menu. There's someone asking, is it Nankonda? Please repeat the last statement. Which statement is that, Miss Agnes? Which statement do you want me to repeat? I think you can be specific. Medication. Okay. Someone asked about, there's someone who asked about method overriding and method overloading. I don't know if you're still there. I don't know if you're still there, but I want to do it when you own. I think that was Agnes too. So method overload and method override, they may actually confuse you. But what is a method override? First, excuse me for quite a while. So a method override is you have a method, but you're going to call that method, or you're going to implement that method multiple times but differently. Okay. So I don't know. I think I can do it for you here as well. The issue of the issue of method override is having the method, but you give different implementation for that method. I don't know if you can get that. You have a method, same data type or same return type, same name, but different ways of implementing that method. So let me try it for you here. Let me try to code it for you, so you can see what I'm trying to talk about. I have a method called I think I will have public. I think I can have a public some. So I want a method that is going to sum for me. Is going to sum for me. To integers. So I think I can put this in a superclass subclass thing, data inheritance, so it can make more sense. I can have a class. Oh, sorry. Can have a class M, and inside that class, I can have there my method that, and public this. I don't know why it is giving you this, so I can return can give a return statement and say I want my x plus y. So this is the method right here. Now we want to check for method override, and I've told you that method override is having the same method, same return type, maybe some parameters, but you implement them differently. So still you can have the same method somewhere, maybe in a class extends m. You guys already know the things of what you already know the things of inheritance. I don't need to go through them. So you have class H extends M. Okay, so you a class extends or it inherits all the attributes, all the members, everything in the class in which it is inheriting from. So we have class H, that's the child class, or the subclass is extending class M. So we can still have the same method, no problem. Same method, public int sum, same parameters, x, that was y, int x. But when it comes to implementation, that's where the movie comes. You simply change the implementation. You can simply have x, maybe a plus y, yeah, x plus y, and have this. Sorry, can have a x plus y, maybe divide by 2. So I don't know if you guys are seeing this well. Same method signature. This is the method signature, but different implementation. This is the implementation right here. Same method signature, different implementation. The first I said x plus y only. In the extending subclass, I said x plus y divided by 2. So if I go to my our main method, we can try to do what? We can try to check for the different implementations of that method and see if it's going to work. So you can have a give it anything. Try to give it maybe a 10. Give a B2, I can assume. Then we I hope you guys know method callings as well. I hope you know how to call a method. Anyone who does not know how to call a method, please. Anyone who does not know how to call a method. So just to correct error, just to correct something here. If a method is a public method, you have to create an object for that method if you want to access it or if you want to use it somewhere. Public, those are the instance methods. Instance method. You get? If a method was a static method, to access that method, you don't have to create an object for that method. You'll simply call that method using the class in which it is existing. So if this was static, instead of if this method was static, when I'm calling this method, I would not have to create an object for that method. I would simply say class m dot sum. That's all. But a method that is public, first create an object for that method. Say class object name equals to new class. That's it. That's it. So since those since those are public methods, I think I have to create an object for those methods. And I would say we have 10 minutes left. We have 10 minutes left. I don't know if you guys will accept another session of still 30 minutes, but let me complete this first time in the next 10. So you have an object that and say new, you say new edge. So I have created an object from the subclass edge, and I want to use that object to call this method here. Call this method here. So I'll simply say, I will say, yeah, system dot out dot print line, I guess, and I say class edge. I mean the object obj dot sum. Yeah, this is it. So here I want to see, because the first implementation what we have is x plus y, so that would be a 10 plus a 2 giving you a 12. But I want to check, did it actually do the override that I wanted to do? This is the override right here, x plus y 12, that's a 12 divided by 2. That's the result I want to check for. And because the object I created was for the subclass, so let me check and see. Yeah, it does work. So 10 plus 12 divided by a 2, it yeah, I think it gives you 6, because this is the output. So that is override. That is override for you. Some method signature, but different implementation. Different implementation. For method overload, you have same method, but different number of parameters. So it would be this, it would be this, it would be this. Because we don't have time, I want to be quick. So you have the same method name, same return type, but different number of parameters. Here we have only 2. Here we have more than 2. Here we have 3. So that's it. That's it. You have a different number of parameters. That is in overloading, overriding, different implementation. So if you come to overload here, if you want to check for overload, you can maybe have another variable to cater for the other variable. We have a u here. So here you can have a k is equal to a 2. Yeah. So here you can should let me actually change this to, I need to have something different. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but that's it. Same method, the same method name, same return type, but different number of parameters. 2 parameters, 3 parameters. You can make them multiple according to your choice as well. If we run this, you can see we have I said I have this plus this divided by, I don't know if this is actually correct. Is this correct here? I'm not sure, but that's it. Same method name, different number of parameters. That's overload. Override, same method name, actually some signature, then different implementation. Any question, please? We have 5 minutes, I think. Is there anyone with a question? You can raise it. I think you can just unmute yourself and talk.
overriding in the first class, there are parameters, then no jump extended class, taken parameters.
Can you please repeat your question? I'm not getting you well. I'm saying Rick is asking why not X and Y, and I've used because here I have XY, XYU, and here I have A. So you can use anything you want. It is a programmer's choice, but why I'm using the different things is for differentiation, for me to be easy to differentiate what I'm doing. So programmer's choice, you can also come here and have your X and still have your Y, no problem. It doesn't matter so long as you understand what you're coding. Yeah, that's it. Any other question, please? Tracy as well. I think I've responded to that question from Ricky's. It doesn't matter whether in the method declarations or implementations, I have X, Y, or Z, something of the sort, whatever. If it comes to down here in the main method, I can use anything. You can still have the X and Y, but why I use different things is my choice, programmer's choice. You can have anything you want to put there. You can have your X and Y still there, but I want to check for the differences. Is this thing really going to give me what I want it to give me? So sometimes you may find you have the same things, okay? Because you may find you're going to call that method multiple times. Let's assume you're going to have another testing. Are you still going to use X and Y? No, you're still going to use other variables. You can still have you can still have that maybe. You can still have an L, no problem. It doesn't matter. What matters is the program running and is there consistency. Because if you're working with more than one stack of variables, you're not going to use X and Y throughout. You're going to also use other variable names. Yeah, so that's it. That's it. I don't know. Are you guys okay with another session that I can send a link in a few minutes? I don't know if because I don't think I covered everything. If you want another session, please you feel free to tell me so that I can work on it. And I think that question will be entirely of questions from you guys. You can unmute yourself and talk if you have an issue. If you have an issue, 1 minute to go, I think. So I think we are coming back in the next few minutes. I'll be dropping another link in the group. If you still feel like joining, you can join and we continue. But that will be entirely to answer your questions because it might have been a little bit fast here and even my voice is something else.
Yeah, Stack, good morning.
Yeah, morning to you.
Yeah, thank you for the far you've taken us. Now I'm requesting, if at all, like we could go through the last test that we did, then I personally also I would request you to go through the static and public methods. And if at all you could have more time, then we could go through more things if at all people are there, because me, I'm there the whole day.
Okay, let me send another
I
link.
don't know what
and
is the view of other people.
Let me send another link, and we'll see those who will join in will be able to join in. Give me a little
Okay,
bit of about 10 minutes.
okay.